Hello my fellow hunters. 1 week ago I grabbed the PC version to start with speedrunning again or continue speedrunning, and I have a really hard time getting better speedrun times on PC than on Switch. So even if I used for the PC version God charm, in the most cases I didn't get a better time than on my previous Nintendo Switch runs. And that was very surprising. I didn't expect it that the Switch X gameplay on the Nintendo Switch was more stable than on the PC version. And in this video I show you 3 common issues for the Switch X which have to be fixed. So there are currently having a lot of issues for the Switch X in the game. I'm not sure whether also for other weapons, but there are 3 common issues, and I wanna explain you then in comparison to the Nintendo Switch. There is one issue of these 3 that also appears on the Nintendo Switch, but maybe that have to do with the controller or other stuff, but I'm not sure. I also, you can see, have done a Reddit post 22 hours ago, and yes, this is a trending post, so 88 upvotes is very much for the subreddit. On the most posts on Monster Hunter Meta you only get about 8 or 9 upvotes, and also 34 comments. So in this video I don't want to show you all the thing I have written on the subreddit. I just want to show you what I have written and maybe the most upvoted comments. And yes, I want to show you how to report that that issue to Capcom. There are 2 ways I figured out, or other have told me. And okay, now I show you the 3 bugs. But first of all I have to explain you how before I showing you the bugs, you have to understand how the swag gouge is working. So there is no really
technical jargon
for that, but you have to know 3 things. There is this thing around the Switch X. So this is I personally call it the charge gouge or the amp gouge, and this shows you when this orange or white line, depending on whether you have done a heavy slam, you're in the amped state and you're doing a ton of damage. So yes, if your Switch X is amped, around that meter is filled, you can recognize how much your Switch X as a way to get amped. And then in the middle we have the sword meter. So this is from Game 8 website. This is wrong. I think it's the correct name is the sword meter, and it shows you whether you can stay in the X mode or not. So if your green bar is below this threshold, you have to reload your Switch X, and if the screen line is above this threshold, you can stay in the sword mode. But I have also a lot of circumstances I also show you in my video when I was amped and the sword meter only filled by 2%, and I can still stay in the sword mode and do a ZSD. I showed that you in the video. I didn't know whether that was a bug or that is an effect of the empty state. So first of all, I'm gonna read you all that stuff I've written on the Monster Hunter Meta subreddit. So you can write in the comments if you have the same issue. I have written, a lot of my subscribers and me recognize the following stuff in the PC version. Often during a ZSD. So I also have to say that ZSD is one of the most important moves when you have a Switch X, especially when you're a speedrunner. ZSD is the second most important combo. You can do the most DPS combo is a rapid morph combo, and if you maybe see a speed run, 60% or 70% of that run is ZSD spam, so it's extremely important for the Switch X gameplay and also for speedrunners. In the most cases, a ZSD does a thrust with 3 ticks, then 10 file ticks, and after that the finishing discharge, and if you're using a soaring wyvern blade, also at once slash with soaring wyvern blade and at once slash file burst. So often during a ZSD, after 2 or 3 ticks, the ZSD get cancelled and continues with that once slash even if your sword meter is full. So that should never happen. If you stick on the monster, maybe if you come from Monster Hunter World Iceborne, you always have to equip at least 1 level of earplugs to don't get interrupted during a ZSD. But Monster Hunter Rise, they completely removed it. You don't have to equip earplugs or flinch free or any other stuff. So you don't get interrupted at all. At the Switch version, you can do a full ZSD without cancelling, even when your sword meter is only 1%. Here are the video examples, timestamp included. So first of all, I show you on the Switch version, that's my personally best speed run, and I also do change the speed. Just give me a second. So only the whole speed. Okay. Turn the sound off. So you can see my sword meter is below the threshold, and now I've started the zero sum discharge and my sword meter is below the threshold. So you can see here it only has maybe 5% or so, and now I'm doing the full ZSD. Okay, and now if your sword meter is more than on this threshold, you can do a dive bomb, but in this case my sword meter is empty, so everything is working correctly. I can't do a dive bomb again. But you have seen, I've done the ZSD and my sword meter, like in this case, was only 5% filled, and I have done a full ZSD and doesn't get interrupted. Now to the PC version. Sword meter is filled 65% and I got interrupted 2 out of 10 hits. And that's maybe the reason, if I am doing in the future some PC speedruns, the times are not as good as the Switch runs, and I'm not sure whether I should continue with PC speedrunning, but I showed that you in the video. So please don't grumble when this PC runs are not as good as the Switch runs. So you can see here, I also gonna change the speed down to 0.5, so you can see my sword meter is filled 65%. Also you can recognize here that my currently FPS is 81, so in this case I didn't have a FPS drop or other stuff, and also the GPU or CPU isn't overheated, CPU 58 degree and GPU 71 degree. So I start stepping on the monster, that was the thrust. Okay. Now I have done 2 ticks, that one was because I hit a small monster, 53 and 61. And after only 2 hits, I got interrupted into the advanced slash. So this is a heavy issue. And also this move ruined my complete speedrun, because if you do a ZSD you always stick on the monster, and in this case the T-Rex run 50 feet away, so you have to run him back. And that cost me a lot of time in speedrunning. So stepping to the monster and only does 2 hits or 3 hits, I don't know, out of 10. So you can see this is also a bug. This is a ZSD bug. And I also have written I maxed out earplugs and maxed out flinch free. The issue still appears. So you can see I've tried to avoid this, or I also have used different frame rates, but the bug still appears. Any thoughts? Do you think Capcom nerfed ZSD for PC or is this an issue? And I just want to show you the most upvoted comments, only maybe 1 or 2. Ovenproof Morse has written, I think there might be a bug with the support meter. I personally don't use ZSD as much, so I've never had this particular issue happen, but a friend of me both have the issue, where the switch X would go into manual reload, and I have talked about it later, that is a third bug. Even tough, you have enough support meter available. So there might be some issue where a certain percentage of meter the game thinks the meter is at 0. I try playing with ZSD at bunch tonight and see if I can reproduce your particular issue. So there was also a dude on these comments that have reproduced this particular issue. There is also a software engineer talking about GPU or CPU, but I'm not completely sure. And yes, this was the comment I've currently read, and Ovenproof Morse has reproduced this scenario, and you can see it here. He has done it in the Rampage quest. So this is the first sequence. I try to make it a little bit more. There is a Misuzune, and he is gonna trying to ZSD her, and he also, like in the same case as me, only have done 2 hits, and then he falls off. 240, 240, and then he got cancelled out of the ZSD. Two hits, cancelled. Okay. And now I show you the complete ZSD again. So this is how a ZSD should be working. Oh, that also got cancelled. Let's count me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, after 5 hits, we also get interrupted. So you can see that also was bugged. I also give you a link to the Reddit thread, so you can also maybe post your stuff there, or you can just inform yourself. Now to the second bug. The second bug is shown also on my Nagakuga Switch run, but that bug also now appears to the PC version. And yes, in this case, if the bug wasn't active, I maybe get a sub 2 run. And it's very hard maybe to figure out, but I showed you in this case. So this is a scenario. First of all, I gonna explain you the bug. The thing is, on the PC version, often the R2 button doesn't recognizes that you wanna morph your switch X. So in this scenario, I'm doing the ZR loop combo. So the combo is circle R2 R2 circle R2 R2. This is the most best DPS combo in the entire game. To doing that combo, you need a sword meter above the threshold, so you can see it's above the threshold, so everything is okay. And I have done maybe 2 or 3 times morphing, and after that the game doesn't it doesn't recognize that I want to morph, and so I maybe have done a wild swing. Otherwise the run was, I can put the run into the trash can. So I showed you, I'm gonna put the speed up to 0.5. Nagakuga's laying on the ground, so this is the double swing with the circle button. Now I'm gonna morph with the R2 button, R2, and now again R2. So everything works fine. And now I wanna morph back into R2, but the game doesn't recognize that. So in this case, yes. In this case, now I put the R2 button, and normally my character does a morphing slash, but the game doesn't recognize it, so I decided to do a wild swing. So you can see it here. So that was kinda bugged. You can see here also, if I doesn't change the speed, that there is like a pause in that animation. Okay, laying on the ground, and now you can see there is like a... At this moment, we have seen there was like a 1 second pause, and that was because the R2 button doesn't work and I decided to start another combo. That was the second button. Sorry, the second issue. And the third issue is an issue I also recognized, but I currently didn't have a capture of them. And the thing is, the character tries to reload the switch X even if the support meter is full, like in this case maybe 60 or 70%. He tries to reload the switch X, and this is the third switch X bug. Yes, I don't know whether all these bugs have to do with the frame rate, but I personally think that yes, they doesn't well optimize the PC version, and there are also maybe also for other bugs, but I heard there was some issues with firing rates also. Yes, I give you the link to the Reddit thread, so you can read it yourself. And I recommend for everyone that sees this video, recommending this bug to Jono or Yono on Twitter. So he's like a Capcom community manager, and you can, if you have some issues with the game, you can tell him, and I've also linked him the Reddit thread. So he can see there's a lot of coverage and many users care of that stuff. And the next thing you can do, I also give you a link in the description, is go, I don't know whether that makes sense or that is just for the community or Capcom cares about that, but there is a webpage on Steam, on the Steam community tab, or on the discussion thread for Monster Hunter Rise, you can see all the bugs that happened. And so you also can there write a comment that the ZSD or the reloading animation or other stuff is not working properly. So thanks for watching. Please report this bug if you have the same issue, and maybe I'm gonna do less speedruns until the bugs are fixed.